You know, sometimes you revisit something from your childhood and you basically expect to fall apart. You do. You think, no way is this as good as I remember it. And then every now and then it actually is better. And for me, that's Sailor Moon. Now, before anyone jumps into the comments, I know someone will. Yes, I'm mostly talking about the 90s dub. Yes, I know about the censorship. Yes, I know that certain relationships got changed in some English dubs. Yes, I know there is a difference between the manga, the original Japanese version, the Deke dub, and the Viz dub. I've watched them all and read them. I have the box set. There's a video somewhere on my main channel about them. This isn't really a comparison video. This is just me talking about this series, this anime that kind of has a little place in my heart because it really does. I actually came to Sailor Moon slightly later than a lot of people did. I can't remember exactly when, but I wasn't there day one. I caught it after everyone had already started talking about it, and I was completely hooked. What surprised me looking back, it wasn't really like anything else I'd been watching. Most anime I'd seen then tended to revolve around epic battles and fights and monsters. Who's stronger? Who's got the biggest attack? Who transforms into what? Who's shouting the loudest? Don't get me wrong, I still love that stuff, but Sailor Moon felt gentler. It wasn't trying to be the coolest show in the room, it was sweet, and it cared about friendships and about kindness, and it cared about ordinary teenagers trying to balance homework with literally saving the planet. There's something wonderfully ridiculous about the premise. Oh no, I've got math homework, and the forces of evil are invading. Priorities, people. And what I also love was the cast. That's being real. Even now, they're incredibly memorable. You've got great protagonists. She's lazy and clumsy and cries constantly, and she eats everything in sight. She's constantly late. If someone described this character to me on paper, I'd probably think, I'm going to find her unbelievably annoying, but she's not. She's actually incredibly lovable. Because underneath all of that, she's genuinely kind. And I think that's the thing this series understands, actually, with all the characters. Being brave doesn't mean never getting scared. Being a hero doesn't mean you're perfect. Sometimes being a hero is crying the whole way through the fight and still showing up. There's something really comforting about that. And like I said, you've got all the other characters. I mean, every single one of them, big and small characters, they'll have their own personalities. They actually feel like friends, a friend group, rather than color-coded superheroes. Although, they are incredibly color-coded. If you've ever seen Sailor Moon, you could probably identify each character purely by silhouette. That's good character design. Speaking of character design, can we talk about how gorgeous the show is? Seriously, I know animation has become clearer, high resolution, sharper, technically better in a lot of ways, but there is something magical about 90s hand-drawn anime. The soft colours, the painted backgrounds, the way light works or doesn't quite make sense if you overanalyze it, the slightly imperfect lines, it feels warm. And yes, before someone comments, if you've watched clips and thinking, did Sailor Moon used to be more pink? No, that's actually the film stock aging over the years. Old animation can shift colours over time depending on how well it's preserved. The remastered versions did a fantastic job of bringing everything much closer to how it originally looked. It's amazing how much difference proper restoration can make. Although, part of me still weirdly misses that slightly fuzzy VHS quality. Everything looked like someone had smeared a tiny amount of butter over the television. Like, that was just life. One of my one of my favourite things about Sailor Moon, though, is the fashion. Yes, I know this sounds weird when talking about magical girls anime, but the original creator, her influence, the identity of the franchise cannot be overstated. Even in the anime, the outfits are gorgeous. The casual clothes, the hairstyles, the poses, everything has this high fashion eloquence to it. It's pastelly, it's stylish, it's glamorous. And yes, I absolutely stole those ideas when I was in art college. I'll admit that now. There you go. Because when you're studying fashion illustration and stylized figure and those stylized figures work anywhere, anyway, they work. And honestly, some of those are genuinely beautiful. The proportions, the eloquence, they're actually probably closer to fashion illustrations in terms of just the style overall. You can absolutely see where the inspiration came from. I am sure one of my tutors probably recognised it and just politely chose not to mention it. Thank you for your service. Another thing that kind of sticks with me is talking cats, because that's an automatic win. You give me talking cats, I'm already invested. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want Luna in their life? A little comic relief, a little mentorship. Occasionally, the only sensible people in the room happened to be them. And Luna was just. I want Luna. I'm sorry, I just want Luna. Although, let's be honest, being the sensible one around any of the characters isn't that difficult. I also think Sailor Moon does something incredibly well in balancing tone. It knows where to be funny, it knows where to slow down, it knows where to become surprisingly emotional, and yes, sometimes it's melodramatic, wonderfully melodramatic. Everything feels like the biggest emotional crisis in the universe, but that's being a teenager. Everything is the biggest emotional crisis in the universe. The show understands that. It never laughs at the characters and it takes their emotions seriously. Which means we do too, even decades later. I also appreciate that it isn't embarrassed by sincerity. Modern media sometimes feels honestly terrified of being honest, or sincere, or earnest in any way. Everything has to be ironic, everything has to be a joke every 30 seconds. Every emotional moment has to be interrupted by someone making a sarcastic comment. Sailor Moon just lets the emotions happen. Someone loves someone, someone loses someone, someone sacrifices themselves. The music swells, everyone cries, you're crying, the cat's crying, everyone's having a terrible time, and somehow it works. Speaking of music, the theme tune. I don't care which version you grow up with. Once it's in your head, it's there forever, and I mean that. It's basically rented permanent accommodation in my brain. No deposit required. Every now and then my brain just decides, you know what we need today? Fighting Evil by Moonlight, and off we go. And I haven't even pressed play yet, and now it's playing. It's just there. I also think it's interesting looking back at how influential the series ended up becoming. You can see little bits of Sailor Moon everywhere, not just Magical Girls anime. Character design, fashion, transformation sequences, friendship dynamics, entire generations of artists who are inspired by the show. And I genuinely think it's one of those series that's much bigger than people realise, especially if they didn't grow up with it. And yeah, it's not perfect. The pacing can be a bit slow. There are filler episodes. Some animation is shamelessly reused. You absolutely notice the budget occasionally. I'm pretty sure the transformation sequences probably paid half the production by existing. We're already animated this beautifully, we're using it again. Fair enough. I'd have done the same. But somehow those little imperfections have become part of the charms. It's comforting, like revisiting an old friend. You already know what's going to happen, you know which episodes are coming, you know what characters are going to appear, and somehow I think it makes it more memorable. I think that's why I still come back to it. It's not flawless, but it makes me feel the same way I did all those years ago. And that's surprisingly rare. A lot of nostalgia falls apart. Sailor Moon didn't. It still feels hopeful and kind and beautiful. And honestly, I miss anime looking like this. I miss painted backgrounds. I miss cell animation. I miss that 90s soft aesthetic that felt almost dreamlike. Modern animation can be absolutely stunning. This isn't one of those everything used to be better videos, because it's not true. But there is something about that era where it just feels impossible to recreate. Maybe because it was literally painted by hand. Maybe because of the colours. Maybe because it's how I first experienced a lot of anime. Whatever it is, it still works. And yes, despite the censorship discussions, despite the different dubs, despite the debates over, well, the debates that happen around this show, I still adore it. It's sweet, it's charming, it's dramatic, it's funny, it's beautifully designed, it has talking cats, and honestly, well, that's already a strong selling point, and every time I revisit it, it reminds me why this is a classic in the first place. Some shows you outgrow, some shows grow with you, and for me, Sailor Moon was definitely the second one. I'm Darth James. Like and subscribe and tell me what you think in the comments below. If you want to check out videos about books and writing, check out my main channel. All the links and everything you need are in the description. See you in the next one.